Hi guys, it's Walter here from All Terrain Action. Recently we've seen an influx in people getting quoted really exorbitant fees to get a dual battery system set up in their vehicles. Myself and Chris sat down together and we worked out a plug and play dual battery setup you can implement for a fraction of the price. Now there's some other benefits to this setup. For example, you don't need an auto elec in order to set it up. Now, apologies in advance about the quality of this video. We don't have a lot of these parts on hand, and we just wanted to get something together so we can explain to you guys how this system would work and how easy it is to set up. So let's move on and we'll go over the system. Let's go over everything you'll need to make this system work. First, you need 4 50 amp Anderson extension leads. You also need one IDC25 Projecta controller with the Anderson connectors. Now, this controller does come in 2 variants, one with just wires and one with the Anderson plugs. Make sure that you get the one with the Anderson plugs, as it's the one that we need to make this system work. Side note, we have one of these in our camper trailer and we would highly recommend them. You'll need 3 50 amp Anderson inline fuse cables. Now, in our example, we are also going to assume that you're going to want to power this via solar. So you'll also need one solar panel or blanket up to 375 watts. You'll also need one deep cycle battery. Here is a total estimated cost with and without solar. Starting with the Projecta controller. From the brown cable, we're going to connect up into the first of the Anderson extension leads. This, in turn, will run into one of the 50 amp inline fuses. Now the 2 terminals on the back of that will connect into your battery, red to red and black to black. This provides power from your battery and alternator directly into the controller. Now, from the red plug, you need to connect that into the next extension lead, which will then run into another 50 amp connector. Now, this connector will hook up to your deep cycle battery, red to red, black to black. So now we have the deep cycle battery set up and running, and it is now charging from your alternator. So let's see how we make that charge with solar. Connect up to the 3rd extension cable. From there, that will plug into your solar panel. So now we have a dual system set up where your deep cycle battery is charging from both your alternator and solar. So now let's have a look at a few things you may like to run from this system. This is why we recommended getting 4 extension leads and the extra 50 amp fuse. So starting from the deep cycle battery, connect up your 3rd 50 amp fuse. From there, it will run into the next extension lead. Now from here, as you can see, we do have a splitter. We'll go over that in just a moment without running multiple things from the one cable. But from here, you could run a fridge or an inverter or other auxiliary items such as lights, USB phone chargers, and other things that you can plug into Anderson leads. Now, let's briefly go over the amps. So this is very, very important. So in the example here, you can see we have a 300 watt inverter and we have our fridge that's at 15 amps. The fuse we have in line is 50 amps. That means the combination of devices you have plugged in can only run up to 50 amps maximum. Now, maybe somewhere down the future, you want to put in a bigger fridge or a bigger inverter. So let's see how easy it is to make that happen. To make it happen, all you need is another 50 amp fuse and another extender lead. Simply connect up the fuse to the battery, red to red, black to black. and that in turn will run into the power lead. And from there, you can run it to the inverter, which will now run on its own circuit. As you can see, it's at 45 amps and runs well and truly under. Now, as the fridge runs less, you could then run your cigarette lighter, which charges phones and other small USB devices, off the same circuit as the fridge without any worry about exceeding the limits on the line. This is what I wanted to touch over before. As you can see, the fuses in there are all rated at 50 amps. Now, this is also the maximum amps that the Anderson lines are rated at. If you exceed that, because they're fused, which is why we mentioned getting these fuses, the worst that will happen is it will blow a fuse. Now, as a side note, guys, you can add more circuits if you need to. It's just a matter of getting another fuse and another Anderson plug and then running a new circuit, however you need to make it happen. I'd just like to mention that all the stuff here can be permanently installed by an auto elec in the future. So if you decide to go down the track, you don't have to worry about wasting your money on these items. They are reusable and you can use them later on if you want to. Say you change vehicles or you want to make it a permanently mounted setup. It's very, very easy to do so. Alright guys, from myself and Chris, we hope you found this video useful. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so and hit that like button so we can bring you more do-it-yourself videos like this. Now, if you run into any issues or you have any further questions, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments below and we'll help you out as best we can. See you guys next time.